Let's go.
I, 31F, cut contact with my parents. Sister, 25F, wants me to reconnect with them. Concluded. I, 31F, cut contact with my parents. Sister, 25F, wants me to reconnect with them. Background. I was a difficult child growing up, to use my mother's favorite term for me. The oldest of 5 kids, never interested in boys, really into science and math, etc. My mom especially kept trying to pressure me into more traditionally feminine pursuits, and starting in my junior year of high school started trying to set me up with boys from families she approved of. Arranged marriages are common in my parents' culture. We fought a lot. I was able to get through all of that, and thanks to scholarships was able to go to college. My parents grumbled, but I have a passion for a field that happens to be very high-paying, and my mom wasn't subtle about pushing me to get an MRS degree. Things came to a head when 3 things happened all at once. I got a terrific job offer from a major company in my field. It required me to move to another state, but they'd pay me to finish my degree. I took the offer immediately, which gave me the independence to do the 2 other things. I came out as gay. My parents went back and forth between refusing to believe me and insisting that it was wrong and brought shame on our family. I converted to another religion. At the time, I was getting serious with a woman of a different faith than the one I'd been raised in, and while I didn't convert purely because of her, she was a factor. My parents did not approve, to say the least. In short, the resulting series of fights lead to my parents declaring that if I took this job and continued on my course of being a lesbian and converting to this other religion, they'd disown me. I let them disown me and completely cut contact with everyone in my family except my little sister. She was still living at home with my parents, and we'd always gotten along very well, so I quietly kept in contact with her. I haven't seen or spoken a word to my parents or anyone in my family except my little sister in 7 years. I'm still working for the same company, now in a higher level position that gives me a very comfortable living. I'm also now married to a woman, not the one I'd been dating when I cut contact with my family, but of the same religion, and faith is important to us both. I have a lovely little girl. My wife's from a previous heterosexual marriage, and through IVF I'm now pregnant. Our wedding was a small private thing, mostly with my wife's family and some friends. No one from my family was present. Now, a few days ago, my sister was in a car accident. Drunk driver, and she's not at fault, but I was able to step in and cover her medical bills since her job doesn't pay enough for how badly she was hurt. I was on the phone with my sister talking about possibly coming to visit, and we were talking about whether my daughter should come with me when I suddenly heard my mom's voice yell, "Daughter?" My mom was apparently visiting my sister and grabbed the phone away from her. She started screaming at me about how could I have a daughter, why did I not tell her I was getting married, how could I steal her grandchildren from her, etc. Eventually I snapped, told her, "I have a daughter, you do not have a granddaughter," and hung up. Predictably, my social media and phone have been blowing up with my parents and relatives who think they have a right to my life, and my daughter, and child or children I'm pregnant with, after they disowned me for pursuing a life of my own, being gay, and converting to another religion. They've really focused on my daughter especially. I'm apparently the first of my parents' children to have kids, and my parents have gone nuts with our granddaughter. I've blocked everyone I can, and my wife, who's been a champ about the whole thing, already took precautions to make sure no one can do something crazy like I've read about estranged parents pulling on this forum trying to pick up our daughter from school without us, breaking into our house, etc. Problem is, my sister thinks I'm being mean. She'd like to meet my wife and her niece without hiding it from the family, and thinks I can meet my family somewhere in the middle. My gut feeling says no. My family burned their bridges years ago, and I don't want my daughter exposed to people who think I'm sick, shameful, and sinful for living my life the way I've chosen. My wife agrees. Still, from someone who's not intimately tied up in this mess, am I being unfair to my parents? Should I hear them out? Or should I just keep stonewalling them? Teal.r. Cut contact with family over lifestyle choices 7 years ago, recently was put into contact with them on accident. I think I should keep them out. My sister wants me to try to reconcile, not positive what I should do. Top comment, Icy Wheel. She'd like to meet my wife and her niece without hiding it from the family. She can do that without any action on your part to make up with your parents. Tell her she's welcome to visit you and your family anytime she likes. Do not engage in discussion about these other people. Your sister is 6 years younger and has only heard your parents' side of what happened when she was, 12? She's plenty old enough now to understand that you've made your own decisions for your life and she should respect them. Update. First, I had no idea my question would get so much interest. Second, everyone was damn near unanimous. After talking with my wife about it, I did a version of what a lot of people suggested. I sent my sister an email explaining my feelings about our family. I'm not completely set on staying no contact with my parents, but if there is going to be any reconciliation, they are going to have to make the first move. I am a lesbian, a religion, and a career, and these things are non-negotiable under any circumstances. If my parents cannot or will not accept these parts of who I am, the rest of me and my life are off limits. They disowned me. If they want me to be a part of the family again, that's completely on them to accept me for who I am. I told my sister that I'm open to meeting her, but only on my terms. I live near a big city, and I'd be happy to take her out to lunch or dinner in the city. My wife and daughter will not be present. Any discussion of where I actually live is forbidden. And if I see my parents, I'm leaving immediately. Only if I'm satisfied with this first meeting will I consider bringing my wife and daughter to another meetup. What I didn't expect was an email I got from my second brother. He was the middle child of the family and joined the military after high school. I can't say I ever knew him well, and he was on deployment when I cut contact with my family. But I got this email from him. Hey, name. If you delete this email right away, I understand, but there's things I need to say. I know I didn't say anything to Mom and Dad when we were growing up or when you went your own way in college. I should have. Guess I'm a coward. Dad respected my decision to join the Navy, but I didn't tell him a big part of why I did it. I joined the Navy in part to get away from Mom and Dad and everyone else. They were just as controlling to me and brother and other brother as they were to you and sister, just in a different way. I didn't see it then. Didn't think about it that way back then. I should have. Easier to pretend I agreed and just go along, and now it's easier to make up excuses for why I can't visit home. What they're doing now scares me. I met a wonderful woman last year, and we're thinking about getting married. We agreed that if we get married, we'll want to start a family. I see what our family is doing now to you and your daughter, and I don't want that happening to me, my wife, or my children. I need to think about them, not just about me. And while I've never cared much about religion, it's important to my girlfriend, and if we marry, I'm going to convert to make her happy. I doubt Mom or Dad will take it any better from me than they did from you, even though my girlfriend is religion A and you're religion B. I think I need to do what you did, and cut our family out of my life. Mom and Dad forced you to do it, but I think I need to do this now. If you never want to see me again, I understand. I'd feel the same in your situation, but the next time I have leave, I'd like to apologize in person if you'll let me. Years too late, I know, but I'm sorry for not saying anything, and I'm sorry for not standing up to you. Love, brother. I was able to meet my brother today, and I think he's sincere. He's horrified by how our family has been treating me because I have a child now, that he's looking at getting married and having kids of his own. We were sitting together at the restaurant when he sent an email to the family announcing that he's severing, followed by him blocking everyone. My sister just told me she'd think about it, and I haven't heard another word since. Thanks everyone for the kind words and for encouraging me to stick with my gut. TL Doctor, didn't take the nuclear option but stuck to my guns and found out a brother has chosen to sever from the family to protect his own family. FL. Grandparents forcing visitation rights? August 3, 2019. I'm in Florida. My parents are in Texas. Situation. 7 years ago, I severed all contact with my parents. They disowned me because of my homosexuality and conversion to another religion. I have since moved to Florida and married. I have a young stepdaughter, my wife's from a previous heterosexual marriage, whom I am very close to. 2 weeks ago, I was accidentally put into contact with my parents again, and my parents learned that I have a daughter. At the time, I made a post about this in relationships. I have maintained my complete silence with my family, except for one sister I'd been in discreet contact with and a brother who has decided to sever with our family over seeing how they're treating me and my daughter. This morning, my sister informed me that my parents are seeking legal options for the court to force them to have access to my daughter via grandparents' rights. My sister and therefore my parents do not know my daughter is not biologically mine and therefore not related to them. My wife and I are in a very stable middle-class situation and are working on having another child. As such, and because my parents are out of state and disowned me because of my sexuality and religion, I'm pretty sure this is a bluff, but I thought I'd ask here. Do I have anything I need to worry about legally? TLDR. Severed from parents years ago, parents found out I have a child they don't know isn't biologically mine. Parents are considering legal action to force visitation rights. Want to know if I should be concerned? Relevant comments. Scribbles. So your parents are wishing to assert grandparent rights over a child that is not their biological grandchild? I don't see how they could be so confused as to think they have any rights to a non-bio step-grandchild. If you adopt this child, then they might take a step closer to a legitimate claim. However, in the same way that if I stand on the bottom rung of a ladder, then I will be one step closer to the moon. Open. They don't know she's not their biological grandchild, as far as I know. She is technically my stepdaughter, but I don't call her that, and she doesn't call me her stepmother. She was only 2 when I married her biological mother. To her, I'm short mom, to contrast my wife, who is tall mom. Final update comment. Update for those curious. My sister says my parents talked it over with a family friend who works in law, and the friend pretty much laughed them out of the room.